Okay, so we're back from the break and we have a very, very special treat for you all. We actually have Friends Forever Rescue joining us today, and we're actually going to talk about this nonprofit organization that rescue dogs, rehabilitates them, and then finds them homes. But I don't want to say too much because we have them right here joining us and they're going to tell you all about it. So right now I have Dee Chess, and she's the founder. Thank you so much, Dee, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
You're welcome. So Dee, let's start by, I want to hear how this organization got started.
How we got started is I used to pull dogs from animal control for other rescue groups. And one day I was at animal control and the guy in charge of rescue came over to me and said, "Did you hear about Frankenstein?" And I said, "Who is Frankenstein?" And he said, "We have a puppy here that a bunch of kids hit in the head with a machete." He said,
God.
"Could you please come and see him?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I went in the back and there was this little puppy in the back with a scar all the way down its neck. So I looked at the puppy and I said, "This dog is out of here. I'm taking him." So I took him home and I had him in my house for a couple months. I rehabbed him and then he was ready to be adopted. So I thought to myself, a lot of people don't know about rescue. I'm going to call the Miami Herald and see if they'll do a story. So I called the Miami Herald. They called me back and they said, "We're going to do a story. We'll be out tomorrow." So they came to my house and they took pictures and did a story about Frankie. And that Sunday, we were on the cover of The Neighbors.
Wow, that's incredible.
And that's how Friends Forever Rescue got started.
And now Friends Forever has been around for 10 years?
10 years. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Frankie has a home now? And
Frankie has a fabulous home. He's a pet therapy dog. He used to visit the patients at Baptist Hospital. He comes to all our events. He's a phenomenal dog.
Okay. So now you mentioned the story of Frankie because it's how you got started.
Right.
But you did mention to me that this is very common and it happens a lot. And we see it happening a lot. And for that reason, we also have Betty Fritz here joining us today. And she brought Helen. So Helen Keller has a very special story as well. So just like Frankie, she has her own story.
Yes, she does.
So let's talk a little bit about Helen and Betty and how you guys got here as well. Do you want to talk about Helen's story?
Helen was brought to us. We were at PetSmart on a Saturday, and Helen was brought to us by some people that were driving behind a car, and they threw Helen out of the car in front of them. So they stopped their car and picked up Helen and brought her to us at PetSmart. And Helen had open sores all over her body, and we could tell that she was blind. So we didn't even know if we could rehab her. That's how bad Helen was. She was in horrible shape. So first we took her to the eye doctor, and we took her to Dr. Kropinski. She's an eye doctor, and she told us that Helen had been born blind. Then we took her to the vet, and the vet told us that we thought that the open sores were from her being thrown out of the car. And the vet said no, that someone had poured acid on this dog.
Oh my goodness.
So Betty is one of our volunteers, and Betty said, "Dee, I want to adopt Helen."
Aww.
And Betty became Helen's mommy.
Aww. Now, Betty, do you want to tell us what's going on with Helen? I've heard big things about Helen being a little superstar.
Yeah, in May I entered a contest, America's Top Dog Model, and she won. So she'll be on the cover of the 2013 cover, and she'll be the cover girl, and then November.
Oh,
So
wow.
she wins.
2013.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a couple years from now.
A couple years, but she's reaping the reward. She'll get a nice dress and a nice necklace, and
She
she's
got
already
a
been
fur
received
coat today.
a fur coat. So she's making it big. So
She is.
Tell us about the prizes. You had mentioned there's a $400 dress.
yes, she'll be getting a $400 dress that's made. She already received a coat, like a fur coat, and she'll be getting a nice crystal necklace made for her, and being on the America's Top Dog Model calendar as the calendar girl. So
And that's a nationwide contest,
it
right?
is a nationwide. It has been going on since January. It just finished in May. So, and when we first went, we went to a casting call in Isla Mirada, and she competed against about 25 dogs, and we were one of the top 3 finalists. And when I got the call, I couldn't believe it that she had won. I was calling everybody up and telling them that she won. So it's really neat to go on the website and be able to see her on there, her picture and her story. of what happened with her.
So in Helen's case, from what I know, what happens in some cases is that sometimes some of these dogs that have a past of being abused turn out to be aggressive. But you've mentioned to me that Helen is not aggressive at all, that she's a very sweet dog, that anyone can play with her. What happens in cases where dogs are aggressive or they come in and they're sick, and how do you guys handle that? Are there certain dogs that maybe you won't take in because they're aggressive?
No.
Or is there a way to handle
As
that?
long as we have space, we will take them in. That's not a problem. If they're aggressive, we have a trainer come in and work with them, and we work with them. We have like 180 dogs now, and out of the 180 dogs, very few are aggressive. Sometimes they're dog aggressive to each other, and we have to separate them. But very few dogs that we get in that are rescue dogs are people aggressive.
Okay, that's good to know.
I
People assume that they would be aggressive.
Not at all. Most of them are so sweet. I get phone calls all the time from people that adopt dogs from us saying, this is the best dog I have ever had. Because I think the dogs realize when they get a good home that they have a good home.
That's wonderful.
And how long can you hold these dogs for?
We hold them forever.
So you hold them forever?
It doesn't matter how long it takes them to get adopted, they're forever. If we have to keep them forever, they're forever.
Friends forever, right?
Friends forever. We do not put dogs down because we've had them too long. We don't do that.
Now, it's so important to have pet rescues out here. So we want to know, what are some of the barriers that might keep an organization like yours from running? It's so important to have you guys around to us, and we'd like to know what are some barriers.
It's very, very costly to run an organization. The most costly part of it is the veterinarian bills, the medical bills, the medicine that the dogs take. It's very, very costly. And so a lot of rescue groups go into it and have to stop because they can't afford to keep it up. We have a shelter, we work with a high school, we have 180 dogs. Our expenses are out of control. And we depend on donations. That's how we survive. And right now with the economy the way it is really hurting us. So that's what we need more than anything, is donations, just to keep us going and to keep the dogs going. You have to remember, they all have to be fed, they all have to have medical, they all have to have medicine, they all need
they're
everything.
living creatures, you know.
Right.
They're almost
No,
like us.
and I mean, we know human medical bills are so expensive.
So
vet
you
bills
can
are
imagine.
Expensive too.
And we spare no expense. No matter what they need, we get it for them. If they have eye problems, they go to an eye specialist. If they have heart problems, they go to a heart specialist.
Is there a facility within, is there medical attention within the facility? That, is there like a facility where they can go that's from Friends Forever? Or you
We
take them to
don't
another
have
vet?
that now in our facility. We take them to the vet's offices.
Okay.
But hopefully someday we'll have a facility that we will have, a clinic in it.
So for our viewers that would like to get involved with your organization, where can we actually contact you?
You can go to our website, which is friendsforeverrescue.com. You can also email us on friendsforeverrescue@yahoo.com, and on there is our phone numbers if you want to contact us. And what we really need is volunteers and donations to help us get through these hard times.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show and sharing that
Yeah.
information with us. It seems like this is a great program. You've done a lot for dogs in need. And thank you for bringing Helen.
The star.
And I want her autograph.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Betty, as well.
Thank you.
We're going to cut to a commercial break now. When we come back, we're going to talk about the program that Friends Forever is doing with Felix Varela High School. See you guys when we get back.